All right. Hi, this is another episode of the Massachusetts Pirate News. It is December 15th, 2024. We are not far away from 2025, whatever that year may bring to us. My name is James O'Keefe. I'm chair of the Massachusetts Pirate Party. I'm joined today by Steve and Joe. How are you two?
Doing good.
Can't complain.
Most wonderful. We have three topics that we're going to discuss today, from national to local, and just some stuff to know about. Our conference will be January 19th, um, from 10 to 4. That's a Sunday, which will be unusual from us. Usually we do those on a Saturday. And so we're going to, it's going to be in person. It will be at the ROOTED Armory Café in Somerville. It is conveniently on two bus lines, not far from the Green Line, two particular stations. There's even free parking in the back. And it has easy access if you're in a wheelchair or have other mobility disabilities. And we're doing our best to make sure that it's going to be a safe place, virus and bacteria wise, to make sure that encourage people to wear masks and have filtration devices going. We'd love it if you joined us. There'll be links in the description below for how you can tell us you're going to register for registering. Also, we're looking for speakers. So if that's something you'd like to do, by all means, click on the link and fill out the form. It will be free and open to pirates, pirate supporters, and folks who are interested. So by all means, join us on January 19th, and we look forward to talking with you then. So we have three topics today. Steve, you have our first one.
So yeah, our first topic for the day is Salt Typhoon. Um, this is the name given to a cyber attack, which so far it's been attributed to China, possibly the Chinese government. The Chinese government, of course, denies this, but you know that's who we think it might be. Anyway, these hackers or crackers, for lack of a better, for whatever you want to call it, managed to infiltrate the infrastructure of several telecommunications companies. Typically, they broke into routers, into firewalls, and they just managed to sort of embed themselves and their software in the telcos networks. Their telcos since the 1990s, there's a law called CALIA, the Communications Assistance for Law Enforcement Act, that basically requires phone companies to provide wiretap capabilities for law enforcement. The hackers got into this too. We don't, it's not quite clear what they were going for. It may have just been, it's sort of like surveillance of important political figures. I think both presidential campaigns had phones that were targeted specifically, but basically the phone companies are just, or most of them are just like, yeah, they're in there. We don't know if we're ever going to be able to get it out, or we could be looking at replacing thousands and thousands of pieces of equipment in order to get them out. So, I mean, at the end of the day, this is, this is a case for good end-to-end encryption. And sort of tellingly in all of this, while the FBI has been fighting crypto wars for the last 20 or 30 years, a few people from the agency have gone, not on the record, but they've told reporters that, yeah, really, you should be using encryption if you don't want your stuff intercepted. Um, so good story. It is another good reason why end-to-end encryption is good. And it's another reason why sitting on unpatched vulnerabilities is very, very bad. Um, a lot of our 3-letter agencies have the idea that, the encryption or whatever only, these capabilities, spying capabilities are only for us good guys. Um, this is not, you know, the the spying capabilities or whoever can access the system. And it just doesn't necessarily mean you're a good guy. It just means that you are a clever or well resourced organization. um, One of the things I thought was also kind of amusing was the FCC's response to this was basically to, in their words, they were strengthening Kalia by telling telecommunications providers that they had to make their networks more secure. Um, to the extent that uh, wiretap services were a point of attack and a point of data exfiltration. Well, maybe you ought to encrypt everything going through those wiretap services. But this is a big frickin' mess. It's a really big frickin' mess. Um, and yeah, I kind of don't want to think about, what's sitting around inside, the power system or the software that controls like water and sewer systems or any of that fun stuff. Gentlemen?
I mean, it just goes to show you, really just goes to show you that their own sneaky skullduggery has turned around and bit not just them, but everyone in the ass. And I don't know if I could say that, but I did. So, FCC, I'm looking at you. Um, and they're like, oh, yeah, we should probably fix that. It should have never been a thing in the first place.
Well, what's annoying is this happened before. Not on such a big scale, but a couple of years ago in Greece, a Greek telco had some Ericsson switches. The Ericsson switches, they had this Kalia, phone tapping stuff. Um, it was installed in them, but just not licensed, not turned on. Well, someone broke in, they turned it on, and then they started tapping the phones of the entire Greek parliament. Um, so this is it's bad. It ain't surprising. It is not surprising at all.
I'm pretty sure the Greek thing was us. At least that's what the rumor was.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, I mean when they suggested that they should update their servers, I'm left with did they notify the NSA? Because I have a feeling the NSA wants those servers to be open so they can gather all the data that they're getting on our communications.
Can you kick out Salt Typhoon but leave our stuff there?
I'm kind of surprised the NSA didn't just go and hack all the systems and be like, yeah, we'll just go in and like remove Salt Typhoon and leave our own stuff there with, a better backdoor.
Well, that's it's sort of funny. I mean, there are, advanced persistent threat kind of software things that, will basically also include modified antivirus to like deal with stuff that tries to clean them up. It's really cool cat and mouse stuff if you get into it.
Well, that and one of the things is the new advances in AI basically blow any of our encryptions completely out of the water, anyways. So now we're just going to have to come up with a whole new encryption system on top of that, where we're going to need supercomputers to keep our phone calls like locked up. But that's hopefully still a few years out. I hope.
Hopefully. Yeah, but certainly in the meantime, you should use stuff like Signal and Tor to communicate securely. If you're using someone who rolls their own, just run away screaming and don't use anyone who uses rolls their own, because odds are that's easier to hack than other stuff that's
Yeah,
been vetted and reviewed and is open source.
yeah. So the word for wisdom is XORing the first 2 bytes is not encryption.
Rot 13.
Rotten 13.
So yeah, we'll keep our eyes out on this. I mean, I'm curious how far whatever intelligence agency got in, and could they like set up their own wired, like, here, I have this number, we want to listen in. Did they set that up, or is it just, well, we have records of what has been recorded and who else is going, and they can see what's been done, or the metadata about what's been done, but can they initiate any of theirs? Do we know?
I've heard it was the former, where they were actually tapping, collecting, copies of the call transmissions, but that's I don't I haven't who knows? Who knows?
When you create backdoors, they're not just for the US law enforcement. Just saying. Like, you'd think we'd learn this lesson, but apparently not. I'm reminded of, what was it, the government agency that had, what was it, like 3 or 5 million, like, details of 3 or 5 million government employees with security clearances, and all of that got hacked
Oh yeah,
ostensibly by China.
the security clearance background check. I don't think it was I thought that was not China, but some other nationality. But still, it's just like, yeah, you have people who are doing work that's sensitive enough to require a security clearance, and the security clearance is just like, lay your whole life out on the table for me. And so there's background details on a lot of people floating around. That, well, someone's got them.
So our next topic is something that's been in the news. I know whenever I've watched the nightly news, it seems to be covered, and that apparently people are, I don't know, using drones or something at nighttime in ways that people don't expect, or I don't know. There seems to be this moral panic about drones, and they've been sighted over supposedly military bases or various other places. Even recently, it was in the news. There were 2 people flying a drone near Logan, though it's unclear quite how close to Logan. So, are people just having a good time flying their drones they got pre-Christmas, or is this something more we need to worry about?
Well, I would have to say that if it was an Iranian drone ship, our Coast Guard, I mean, they go nuts when they see a narco submarine. I could only imagine what they would do if they saw a full ship full of drones. They would probably go ham on it, and it would be all over the news. So, is it civilian? I mean, some of these are well orchestrated, especially the one over New Jersey and some of the Air Force's bases. Um, so I would imagine the powers that be against the US are involved somewhat, but it's so murky.
I mean, it could just be people wanting to fly their drones and, like, get a look into Air Force bases. I'm sure there's a lot of people who fly drones over Area 51, but they probably have stuff to, like, knock those out of the air in probably a non-kinetic way.
I was sort of, years ago, UFO sightings were kind of the thing. And
There were
you know,
TV
I
shows about that in the
I
70s.
haven't I haven't been following the drone sort of the drone thing, because some of them, casually looking through a couple of stories, and it was like, yeah, well, we didn't find anything actually unusual happening here, or yeah, these were satellites, or no, the lights that you're seeing are actually stars. Um, I guess it's something to hem and haw about. I don't know.
So one thing
Well,
sorry, go, Joe.
no, go ahead, Jamie. No, go
Uh,
ahead.
One thing I will say, at least for there's an app called Sky Guide, and if you're unsure if the thing you're seeing in the air is a star or the Leonid meteor shower or a satellite or something, you can use it and then click a button, and it will literally like follow around where you are as you move your phone around, and it'll tell you what that bright object in the sky is. So, I said it's free. Who knows what it's spying on, but probably not much. Um, but I certainly, well, actually, you never know with the apps. But I recommend it. It's really helpful if you want to see what's up in the sky. UFOs, of course, are not included, but it will tell you if particular things are satellites or the ISS, International Space Station, or you know usually the lights, the big bright lights that I've seen are like Jupiter, or if it's red, it's Mars, sometimes Venus. So I recommend
Well, something about the whole drones things too is China just set the world record for amount of drones controlled by a single AI computer, like ever. And like the amount of drones is absolutely impressive. And it doesn't take much to strap a grenade to a drone, as we have found out in Ukraine. So if they really want to like go and do a heavy attack, um, I'm pretty sure that they would be able to do so. And our lack of response, I don't know if we're baiting them into doing it, or if it's like planned, or if it's our own military just testing the waters. It could be so many different things that who knows what the real truth is. But what I would like to see is having us common citizens have a way to defend ourselves from some type of attack, or some way like when we were talking about this before, when we were bringing up our topics and figuring out what we were talking about, Steve said a quote like, if there's a drone flying outside your window, I'd like to be able to zap that drone, maybe, you know and not have be liable for $100-$300 drone, that whatever they cost, just be like zzz.
Well, if
You
it's
know,
over your property.
I mean, I grew up in a kind of a rural area, so everybody had a shotgun. Everybody had a deer gun. So yeah, a drone is just like an oversized clay pigeon with a camera.
Every
well,
person a Doris Miller.
the
Sitting there
problem
with
for
their
me,
machine gun shooting down the drones at our 21st century Pearl Harbor. Doris Miller.
well, being in a city, that's less of an option. You don't want to be shooting off a shotgun, otherwise you get a blue light special. Um, just saying.
Yep.
um, So, we'll put links to the stories below. Our final story is Joe. Are you able to discuss this?
Yeah. So our our final one is an idiot version of Santa Claus. This is local. This just happened. A man was trying to evade the police and got stuck down a chimney. And so what happened is, it's a good thing that no one lit a fire under him. But you know, for the holidays, we get one guy trying to be Santa Claus, just in the wrong way.
So supposedly he was fleeing from police. Somehow climbed up a house and then decided to climb down the chimney because that makes sense.
Yeah,
And got
it's just
stuck.
Chris. Nobody'll suspect anything there.
If they see you go into
Yes,
the chimney, they know where you've gone.
and of course this happened in Fall River.
Oh
I
So
well.
shall not cast aspersions on
Say
Fall
no more.
River.
It's okay, Fall River. We love you.
we really do.
If
But
I recall correctly,
but
Fall River got rid of their shot spotters, so yay.
well, it wasn't doing them any good. So
And so, with that, thank you, Steve. Thank you, Joe, for joining me at this week's Pirate News. Hopefully, we'll have another one before the end of the year. We have a meeting coming up this Thursday if you'd like to help with planning our conference. And we have reached out to all the 351 municipalities in Massachusetts, asking them who are the pirate voters there, so that we can reach out and mail all of them and tell them about the conference, as well as get other information like when is your election, and how many signatures do you need, and when are they due, and stuff like that. Because we really want to encourage people in this upcoming year to run for local office, especially if you're in a town with elected town meeting. You need like 5-10 signatures to get on the ballot, and you get 75 people voting for you, and you're a shoe-in. So we want to encourage all pirates to run in whatever way they choose to run. Different towns have different offices, so we're gathering all that information, but you too can just call your local town or city, either your town clerk or your city election committee, and ask them for the details. And just as a reminder, all city elections will be the second Tuesday after the first Tuesday after the first, no, the Tuesday after the first Monday in November. Also Saugus, apparently. Who knew? So good for you, Saugus. But every other town has an entirely different schedule. That is their personal choice, some of which are nicely on the weekend. So with that, thank you for watching this episode of Massachusetts Pirate News. And we hope you found it informative. Check us out at masspirates.org. And, it's a YouTube video. You know what to do. Thanks so much. Take care. Bye.